this lecture we're going to talk about linear graphing. And linear graphing, of course, deals with drawing functions that are straight lines. So linear functions can be expressed in terms of a single variable. For instance, we could say that y equals 2, or we could say, for instance, that x equals 3. So you might be asking, well, what do these guys look like? Well, y equals 2 would be a constant function going through the y value of 2. So y equals 2 would be a horizontal line, because no matter what x value you choose, the y value nonetheless will be 2. Well, what about x equals 3? Well, x equals 3 is a vertical line passing only through the x value of 3. So x equals 3 would be a vertical line. Okay. Now, what about something like ax plus by equals c? Well, this is the standard form of a straight line where a, b, and c are real numbers, and the result of a graph like that might look something like this. It's still going to be a straight line, and it's still going to have a constant rate of change. However, it's not a vertical line, nor is it a horizontal line. Okay. Now let's do a few examples. So let's take, for instance, 2x plus 3y equals 6. So in order to graph a straight line, we need at least 2 points. But at a very bare minimum, 2 points will do. So let's come up with some x values and some y values for graphing. So we're going to put in a value for x and solve for y. So I'm going to put in 0 for x, because that makes it easy to do. Because 2 times 0, of course, is 0. So that's going to leave me 3 times y equals 6. And when I divide both sides by 3, I see that the y value that corresponds with an x value of 0 is 2. So when x is 0, y is 2. Now, suppose I put in 0 for y. So that's going to give me 2x plus 3 times 0 equals 6, which leaves me with 2x being equal to 6. Therefore, x is going to be 6 divided by 2, so x is going to be 3. So when x is 3, y is 0. So let's graph those 2 points. So 0, 2 is going to be right here on the y-axis, and 3, 0 is going to be right here on the x-axis, and then all we have to do is to draw a straight line through those 2 points. Okay. So that's what our graph would look like. Let's do another one. So let's graph x plus y equals 4. So once again, I'm going to substitute in some values for x and solve for y. So if I put in 0 for x, so I have 0 plus y equals 4. So that tells me that y equals 4. So when x is 0, y is 4. Now suppose I let y equal 0. You notice I'm using parentheses when I substitute. That's going to give me x equals 4. So we have 0, 4, and 4, 0. So here's 0, 4, and here's 4, 0. So now we draw our line between these 2 points and continue on. So there is our linear graph, x plus y equals 4. Let's do another one. Now, let's do 3x minus 3y equals 6. Okay. So let's choose some points. Now, let's let x equal 0. So when we do this, we can simply just put our pencil over the 3x, because when we do 3 times 0, we get 0. So what's left is negative 3y equals 6. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. And we'll see that y equals negative 2. So when x is 0, y is negative 2. Let's put our pencil over the minus 3y, because we're going to let y equal 0. So that tells us that 3x is going to equal 6. In other words, if we just get rid of the minus 3y by letting it equal 0, all we're left with is 3 times x equals 6. Divide both sides by 3. We're going to get x equals 2. So we have another pair of points. We have 0, negative 2, which is right here. And we have 2, 0, which is right here. Now you'll notice that both of these points lie on the axes. One of the points lies on the x-axis, and one of the points lies on the y-axis. That means that we are, in fact, graphing the intercepts of this line by graphing where this line intersects the axes. So there's our graph. Okay. Now, let's graph some special versions of a straight line. Let's graph, some horizontal lines and some vertical lines. So if we graph y equals 2, then once again that's just a horizontal line that passes only through the y value of 2. So I can pick as many points as I like along here, as long as they are on the y value of 2. So this is what we call a horizontal line. Now you notice this horizontal line has no rate of change. And by rate of change we mean the amount of rise over the amount of run. So this has 0 slope. It's a flat line. So let's label this guy. We'll call him y equals 2. And let's graph another one. Let's graph, for instance, y equals negative 3. Well, y equals negative 3 is going to be down here, and it also is going to be a horizontal line. Okay, so that's going to be y equals negative 3. Okay. Well, what about vertical lines? What do they look like? Well, a vertical line is going to look like something like x equals 1. So if x equals 1, we're only going to graph x values that are 1. So that gives us a vertical line passing only through the x values of 1. Okay. Suppose we graphed x equals negative 5. Well, if we graph x equals negative 5, that means that our points are going to be all along the x value of negative 5, and once again that produces a vertical line. Okay. So there are some basics of graphing linear functions. Thank you for watching.